Harcal adjusted his breathing, mandibles clicking in anxious rhythm. The Valerii homeworld shimmered beneath the starlit sky, a beacon of science and peace. Yet, despite their knowledge, they had always lived under the shadow of stronger, more aggressive species. That changed when humanity arrived. The declaration still echoed across the galaxy. The Valerii are under our protection. Harm them, and you will answer to us. There will be no negotiations. Few species took the threat seriously. Humanity, though fierce, was young, lacking the numbers or vast territories of established empires. Some call their words posturing. Others saw it as reckless bravado. But to the Valerii, it was salvation. For centuries, their kind had been prey, their intellect exploited by war-hungry civilizations. Humanity was different. They didn't demand technology, servitude, or tribute. They simply stood beside them. And when the Sixth Dominion sneered at the warning, the galaxy braced for the inevitable test. It began on Valerii Prime's outer colony, Draenex 4. Without warning, 6 warships pierced the sky, unleashing destruction. The Valerii, pacifists at their core, had no defenses against the armored warriors descending upon them. Scientists were shackled, technology seized, and their great crystalline cities burned. A distress beacon pulsed in vain. The Six broadcasted their cruelty across the stars, mocking humanity's promise. The weak serve the strong. Let us see if humanity's protection is more than empty words. The Galactic Council watched in silence. Would humanity respond? Could they? Then came the answer. A single transmission, cold and final. You were warned. Within hours, Earth's war machine came to life. There was no debate, no hesitation. The response had been decided the moment that 6 struck. Admiral Elias Cade stood on the bridge of the UNSC Relentless, watching the holographic projections of the 6 fleet movements. The warlord Xorquin had grown bold, believing humanity was too weak or too afraid to retaliate. A mistake he wouldn't live long enough to regret. Across the Sol system, fleets mobilized, warships disengaged from orbital stations, engines flaring as they formed up in perfect precision. Humanity had never been the largest empire, but every ship they fielded was built for one purpose: war. The Relentless led the charge, its escort fleet cutting through space with cold efficiency. Within moments, they pierced the hyperlane, setting course for Draenex 4, the site of the massacre. The 6, expecting a slow diplomatic response, were caught unprepared. When humanity arrived, they did not send diplomats. They did not send threats. They sent death. The first strike came with pinpoint orbital bombardments. Kinetic rods, massive tungsten projectiles, descended at hypersonic speeds, turning 6 fortifications into craters. The shock waves rippled across the landscape, and within minutes, entire strongholds were erased from existence. 6 warships scrambled to retaliate, their fleet still holding numerical superiority. They outnumbered humanity 3-1, yet the battle was over before it began. The first engagement lasted 17 minutes. Railgun rounds punched through enemy hulls with surgical precision. Drone swarms dissected 6 formations, exploiting every weakness with AI-assisted strategy. Humanity didn't just win the battle, they demonstrated annihilation as an art form. Aboard his failing dreadnought, Warlord Xorquin watched in stunned silence. This wasn't a war, it was a massacre. His final transmission was laced with disbelief. Impossible, humans fight like monsters. Admiral Cade gave the only response necessary. We are worse. The remnants of the 6th Fleet fled, their shattered vessels limping toward the safety of their homeworld. They had expected humanity to punish them, perhaps destroy a few outposts, maybe cripple a war fleet, but nothing could prepare them for what came next. Humanity didn't stop. The moment the last 6 warship disengaged, the UNSC pursued, tracking them through hyperspace with ruthless efficiency. Escape was a fantasy. For centuries, the 6 had waged wars across the stars, subjugating weaker species. They had grown complacent in their power, believing their empire untouchable. Now, their once mighty dominion was in full retreat, their fleets burning across every system they once ruled. And humanity was just getting started. As the 6 survivors reached their homeworld, 6 Prime, their leaders scrambled to fortify planetary defenses. Massive orbital cannons powered up, ground-to-space missile arrays locked onto the incoming human fleet. Across the planet's surface, 6 warriors rallied in desperation, preparing for an invasion. They still believed in the old rules of war. They thought humanity would blockade, demand surrender, negotiate terms. They were wrong. The first wave of planetary bombardment came without warning. From high orbit, human warships released precision kinetic strikes, targeting every military installation, shipyard, and weapons cache with cold, calculated destruction. Entire 6 fortresses collapsed, their reinforced structures torn apart by hypervelocity slugs. The shock waves from each impact cracked the surface of their world, sending massive firestorms across the landscape. Within the first hour, half of 6 Prime's military infrastructure was gone. By the second hour, the 6 government was in full collapse. Their leaders, once arrogant and defiant, now begged for surrender. They flooded the Galactic Council with desperate pleas. "We submit. We surrender. Please, call off the humans." But no one answered. The Council simply watched in stunned silence, paralyzed by what they were witnessing. Admiral Cade stood on the bridge of the Relentless, watching as the 6th Dominion burned. His officers awaited his command. The 6 had surrendered. The war was over. But Cade's orders had been clear from beginning. Surrender was an option before you touched our allies. Now it's extinction or exile. The final phase began. Human ground forces descended, clad in reinforced exosuits, armed with plasma accelerators and kinetic rifles. They didn't come as conquerors. They didn't come to occupy. They came to purge. 6 warriors who resisted were eradicated with cold efficiency. Those who threw down their weapons were herded into massive transport carriers, exiled from their own world. The 6th Dominion ceased to exist in a matter of days. Their homeworld, once a beacon of conquest, was left a silent graveyard, a stark warning to any species who would dare test humanity again. And then, across every communication channel in the galaxy, Admiral Cade sent the final message. "The Valerii are under our protection. We warned you once. We will not warn you again." The galaxy listened, and for the first time in history, it feared. The war was over, but its echoes rippled across the galaxy. The 6th Dominion was gone, wiped from the map in a matter of days. The species that once ruled through terror had been reduced to scattered refugees, exiled from their own world. 6 Prime, once a world of fortresses and warships, now stood as a silent monument to human vengeance. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Every major species watched the footage in silence. The precision of the bombardments, the merciless efficiency of the ground assaults, the cold finality of Admiral Cade words. Fear settled deep into bones of every empire. The older races had seen wars before, but never like this. Never with such total, unrelenting purpose. Humanity did not seek conquest. They did not ask for territory. They did not demand tribute. They simply eradicated a threat and made it clear, touch our allies, and you are no longer civilization. You are an example. Some species rushed to strengthen ties with Earth, sending envoys to pledge cooperation, treaties, anything to ensure they never stood on the wrong side of human wrath. Others, terrified by what they had seen, began plotting. They whispered in hidden chambers, debating whether humanity had become too dangerous. The 6 had been warmongers. Yes, but what if humanity was a true threat? What if this was only the beginning? And deep within the void, Earth's leaders already knew what was coming. A private communication pulsed through encrypted channels, reaching Admiral Cade War Room. The Valerii, their gratitude beyond words, pledged eternal loyalty to humanity. But Cade wasn't focused on gratitude. He stood before a new projection, a classified fleet yard hidden in the depths of Sol's outer system. There, the next generation of warships was already under construction. Bigger, deadlier, unstoppable. One of his officers hesitated before asking, "Sir, do you think they'll come for us next?" Cade gave a cold smile. "They fear us now. The question is, what do we do with that fear? Beyond Earth's orbit, new warships silently came online. The galaxy held its breath, and humanity waited,